The News Journal for today, the 21st of March, 2025. First, the continued attacks and counter-attacks between Russia and Ukraine, despite peace talks. Next, Korean President Kim Jong-un oversaw the latest successful test of a missile system. Next, White House gave the green light on Israel's attack of Gaza to force release of captives. In the U.S., President Donald Trump signed an executive order abolishing the Education Department. Heathrow Airport was shut down because of power outage. Lastly, a deadly diphtheria infection in an IPAS center in Ireland. Here are the details of these news. First one is the Russia-Ukraine war. Ukraine and Russia traded blows on latest back-and-forth attacks despite ceasefire talks. Ukraine bombed Engels 2 air base in Russia, while Russia, on the other hand, conducted drone attacks in Odessa, Ukraine. U.S. President Donald Trump's called for a limited ceasefire. This is supported by Ukrainian President Zelensky, who said that the first steps toward fully ending the war is to stop attacking energy and civilian infrastructures. However, the commitment of the two countries is in question after these attacks. Are they really willing and ready for peace agreement? Will Russia forfeit its claim over Ukraine? Are both countries going to pull out their troops that they have on the territories they invaded? The U.S. State Department is very optimistic of this ceasefire, calling it just a breath away. On Monday, the U.S. and Russian representatives will meet in Saudi Arabia to talk about the Black Sea shipping safety. Although this is the primary focus of their discussion, possible Russia-Ukraine ceasefire talk can be tackled. The U.S. will also meet Ukrainian officials at that time. On the other news, North Korea conducted a test firing of anti-aircraft missile system on Thursday, which was overseen by President Kim Jong-un. The testing was done on the same day that the U.S. and South Korea finished their joint military exercise. North Korea has called this joint exercise as a security threat, while the U.S. and South Korean officials called it as defensive in nature. On the other news, Israel-Gaza war continues. Israel renewed its attack on Gaza on Tuesday. White House officials confirmed that U.S. President Trump was consulted, and gave the go signal in order to force Hamas give up their hostages. Residents of southern Gaza, town of Bani Suhaila, were warned to evacuate their homes immediately ahead of the strike. However, a lot of casualties still ensued. Meanwhile, in the U.S., President Donald Trump, on Thursday, signed an executive order to eliminate the Education Department. Trump felt the need to eliminate the federal education department, since the day-to-day operations and policies of schools are handled by different states through their local officials. This executive order could face legal challenges, especially among the Democratic Party lawmakers who felt bypassed by this order. Closing the department was a vocal campaign of Trump, along with other government cost-cutting measures. Beforehand, the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency had already removed about 50% of the Department of Education's workforce. These actions are lauded by Trump's supporters, while condemned by the opposing party. Opposition's primary concerns are the funding of schools, especially for the states who are very reliant of the federal aid. Europe news. London's Heathrow Airport was shut down because of massive power outage. An electrical substation supplying the airport was caught on fire, causing the evacuation of about 150 people. According to a CNN report, fire officials were called around 11:23 p.m. local time on Thursday and has been battling the fire all night. The cause of the fire is still not known. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, Lewotobie Laki-Laki volcano erupted, causing Bali flights cancelled. This large eruption has followed the smaller ones that had been happening since the 13th of March. Reuters media reported one person was injured during evacuations, while the total number of affected residents is still unknown. For Our Health News, a patient was admitted to a hospital because of diphtheria infection. The 19-year-old man who has been living for about 2 years in an IPAS facility, experienced sore throat symptoms and was treated with antitoxin and IV antibiotics. IPAS is International Protection Accommodation Services that provides housing for people who applied for international protection. The IPAS facility was placed on lockdown, and investigation and contact tracing has been started to determine the possible sources of infection. Diphtheria is an upper respiratory tract infection caused by bacterium that produces toxin which could damage the heart and nerves. Diphtheria is contagious. It can spread from person to person via coughs and sneezes. Primary symptoms include sore throat, tonsillitis and severe weakness which are similar to flu. However, diphtheria patients may experience swollen neck and airway obstruction. Although preventable with vaccination, according to the World Health Organization, diphtheria can be fatal around 30% of cases for unvaccinated individuals who are without proper treatment. Young children are at a high risk of dying with this infection. Please click that notification and subscribe button for some more updates and latest news.